All right. Whoa. Hey, Mike Holmes here. Good to have you. We're getting a little wobbly here. Man, I'm glad that you have made it today. I barely made it. We're usually on here at a certain time, mountain time, and we had a little technical difficulties. We got the death spiral where the thing kept doing that for a long time and could figure it out. So, anyway, welcome aboard, Sunday school teachers. Today we're talking about Sunday school basics. Sunday school basics. In other words, two essential skills that are trainable skills. They're things that you can work on. And that's what we're going to cover today in this thing. My name is Mike Holmes. If you've not met me, I'm pastor, or actually founding pastor. It's hard to not say that the right way. I am the founding pastor at the Sinclair Baptist Church, and we have a new senior pastor now. And so I spent a lot more time doing training like this and helping churches with their, this last week, helping them with the websites, getting those things all up and running. You need help there, give me a holler. You can always contact us at info@reachkeep.com, and that's what's going on. So anyway, my name's Mike, and I'm glad to help you. Been teaching Sunday school and kids, working with kids for, wow, just years and years and years. And I am just thrilled to be able to be here with you today. So thanks for taking time to be with us. A little bit of allergies getting me. I might take a drink of water here in just a few moments. Welcome aboard. This is reachkeep.com is where you are. You're on our YouTube channel. If you need any more additional information, you can look throughout our channel and find all sorts of things. If you find the things are good, give us the thumbs up. Okay. If you don't, give us a thumbs down. We can handle that too. Every leader has their down days. Okay. And we're no exception to that, but want to give you these essentials today. So I'm going to jump right into this so we don't waste too much time. And we're going to get, this is kind of one of those tease things because we're not going to get through all of this when we get to the second essential. Kind of get you started on it. You'll be able to find out what it is. And then from there, we're moving on over the next few weeks. We're doing some more training in the specific thing. And so that's all the more reasons to just subscribe, and then you'll get notification when this comes. So here's what I wrote down in my notes. Okay. There are people that are really good at teaching the Bible. Sunday school teachers, they're good at teaching the Bible, and they're good, what we would call presenter people. And then there are Sunday school teachers that are really good at loving their children and, communicating with them and all that. And you might go back in your experience and remember, and if you weren't necessarily raised a believer, you may relate to this more in a public school situation where you had a teacher that really you bonded with, and they were cared about you, and because they listened to you and gave you good attention and all that, you performed better. You did better in your tests. You did better paying attention. You did better on everything because they were a people person. But when it came to teaching, they weren't all that good. Now, in Sunday school, it's just the same thing. We can have some Sunday school teachers that are very, very good presenters. In other words, they do, whether it's flannel graphs or, doing illustrations or whatever, they are great at presenting. And that's a powerful thing. And we want to talk about these two areas, these two basics, because here's where they are. They are the idea of being a good teacher, okay, and having good presentation skills and being good at the teaching, and then being good at the people side of things. So that there's really kind of two sides to all of this. So, and you can work on all of those. And we are going to be spending more time talking about some of the presenter things. But I want you, first of all, to learn how to be a good teacher. Now, this would include a lot of the people skills are going to fall into this because you're going to be helping the kids to gain attention. You're going to be helping them review. You're going to be communicating them with their language at their level. So we have gone through, over the last couple of months, we have gone through the 7 laws of teaching. It is a classic book written in the 1800s by John Milton Gregory, and you can go back and catch every one of these presentation type truths. And what I have here is I've kind of summarized some of them in a very simple way so that you can learn to be the best teacher that you possibly can be. And so I'm going to go through a couple of these things. So that you are not a boring teacher, that you are, good at communicating. And these are essentially what we've gone through over these last several weeks. So you can go back and find all of these. Um, Number one, as a teacher, you need to know your content. If you're going to communicate it to the kids, you need to know the lesson that needs to be taught. You have to have that, and it doesn't have to be memorized, that type of thing, but it's got to be something that comes from the heart. You need to be that devotional preacher, that devotional teacher. It's got to be coming from the heart, especially when you're working with children. Number two, and this one probably got more downloads than anything. You can go back and look for it. It has to do with gaining attention. How do you gain and keep attention of the children? Very important and I went through some techniques in the YouTube, so you can go back and watch that. But if you're a good teacher, if you're working on being a good teacher, you need to be really good at that, getting them to pay attention to you and you then paying attention to them. And again, this is kind of a two-way type of thing. The third skill is this idea of a teacher must use the common language. And we can sometimes teach, and it's real obvious if I were to start speaking in Japanese, you wouldn't understand me. But it would be, the language needs to be the language that children understand. And this is getting down to their level. This is where you kind of talk to them ahead of time and you find out about their dog and you find out about their mom and dad and you find out about all the different little things that are going on in their life. And then you can use that same language as you're speaking to them. And again, this is part of that people person type of thing. So learning their language, what it happens to be. And that doesn't mean like, yo, dude, you got to do all that kind of stuff. That's not that. It's just being able to understand what their heartaches are and where they're broken and where they need to be repaired. So that is part of being a good teacher. The next one is where we kind of get into sort of the lesson side of it. And it is, you need to move from, if you're a good teacher, you move from the known to the unknown. In other words, you start with a very big thing that everyone understands and you move to the smaller detail, what you really want to teach, which means you kind of go back and give the big picture, the bigger context, move into it, and then you narrow things down. All of that helps you become a good teacher, and you can sharpen up on that, moving from the known to the unknown. The next one is the idea, and this goes with gaining attention, which is law number 2, but it's the idea of arousing discovery. In other words, the first one is you're kind of going, hey, look, and watch, and here's what's going on. And the second one is where they go, what is going on? And they start to dive into things, and the student becomes the discoverer. They become the one that opens things up. And there are many techniques, and we covered this in the podcast, or in the, not podcast, but the YouTube video. And you can go back and watch that one on discovery. It's just about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So arousing discovery, and boy, you can really work on this. And when you do this, kids are starting to open up their Bible and they're starting to flip through verses. They're starting to learn things. They're starting to ask questions. And, well, what about this? And what, the why people, if you have too many people in your life that are going, why, that's a good thing, because those are the discovery type people, and you want that, and you want to learn how to channel that the right direction. The next one is the idea of where they are starting to repeat the lesson and they are starting to express what the lesson means to them. And the words that I have is just foster expression. In other words, where they, put this into your own words. And how would you explain this to someone else? How would you tell the main lesson from David and Goliath? How would you put that in your own words? What would those words be? And they start to kind of communicate with you. And believe me, all of these, also 6 of these so far, these are all things you can work on over and over and over. The last one is just, the review, and reapply. And it's where you go back and go over the lessons again, go to the back, go all the way to the front, review, get the application going. And when you start to do these things, you become an awesome teacher. And you become what we would also know is almost like the people person. Now, these are not necessarily, some of these are presentation skills, and there's definitely crossover in all this. But this is where you are really spending time with the kids, learning and what they're all about, figuring out what they're all about, and then communicating God's truth through your Sunday school lesson. So this is in the basics. This is number one, is learning to be a really good teacher in this aspect. The second one has to do with this idea of being a better presenter. And this is some of the mechanics of presentation, and you can learn to do that too. In other words, you can learn, the first one, you can learn to listen to children. And have times where you listen and take their prayer requests. And that is an excellent, excellent time where you are really, your mind is open to what's going on in their world. But there are also presentation skills that you and I need to work on. And I want you to make sure that you take time to learn some of those skills. I was in a presentation not too long ago, and the person who did the presenting, for whatever reason, stood at like a 45-degree angle the entire time and kind of like taught over there. I mean, it was like, and I don't know if someone was sitting over there that he wanted to, but made it to here, never made it to there, but never got over to this side, never just stood square, having your shoulders square with your audience. I mean, just simple things like this show that you're a good presenter and you representative. I was in one not too long ago where someone was reading, and this sounds funny, they were reading the Bible too much. No, we can never get too much Bible. But when they would read the Bible, got mine right here, when they would read the Bible, they had it down like this, and they would read it with their face down, and they didn't pronunciate very good, and they mumbled a little bit too much, and they didn't get it out so you could hear what was going on. So a lot of the lesson was lost because of a presentation skill that was not there. So all of these are some powerful things. Another presentation skill that happens with Sunday school teachers all the time is they get off on what we call rabbit trails, okay? And they're down the little rabbit hole over there, and they're talking about something else for a long time that is not applicable, or they're telling a story, or they're telling a joke, or they're doing something that means something to them. I'm sure it does, but it doesn't mean anything to anybody else in the lesson. So all of those are presentation skills. So here, let me just kind of go back to the big thing here. What we want you to do as a Sunday school teacher is to learn these two basics good. And these are trainable, attainable type of skills that you can grab. And that is to be a good people person and to be a good presenter person. In other words, be really good at teaching and bringing the truth out to these kids so they understand it. You're listening to them, you're bonded with them, and then also being the person that can stand up. And because many times when you're teaching, it's not 2 or 3 kids or 4 or 5 kids. You might get up to 10 or 12 or 15. And I was in junior church the other day, 27 children. Your presentation skills need to be sharp when you're doing that. And we want you to be good at that. So over the next several weeks, we're going to be talking about some presentation skills, some of the things that you can do, some techniques that will help you. And so I want to make sure that you subscribe and get this. So every Saturday afternoon, been doing these, and I'm very excited about them. You can go back and watch them. They're really kind of made to archive and to go back. And there are some great lessons from the past. So several hundred people, downloaded that one just the other day, just listening to it. And I would like for you to be able to go back and find those. So those are on your YouTube channel. If you're more of a podcast type person, we do have the Better Sunday podcast. You can look that up on any one of your podcast catcher things like iTunes or Spotify. And we put that out on Sunday afternoons, or actually usually goes out on Monday because it's recorded Sunday night later, sometimes on Sunday afternoon. So that is called the Better Sunday podcast, and that is available for you. It also has some great truths for you. So anyway, I want to thank you for being involved. You can see in the back, we have our Reachkeep Academy sign up here, and that is, we're very excited about it. We have a conference coming up in just a short amount of time, and you can learn all about that at reachkeep.com, just a regular website. And there's a button and you can click it, and that take you to our training, some more advanced training that goes into much longer and deeper things. So from here to you guys have a great Lord's Day wherever you are. Appreciate you guys so much. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you have questions, and we've been answering these on the Ask Mike podcast. If you have questions, you can send those to info@reachkeep.com. That's my address, comes right to my phone, info@reachkeep.com. Last week, we covered a question, what to do when a bunch of people in your church hate children. In other words, a guy wrote and he said, man, our church, a lot of the leadership, they don't like kids and they don't want to reach kids. And so what do you do about that? We answered that question. We've talked about Facebook pages. We've talked about promotion things. We've talked about all sorts of different things. And so you can write to info@reachkeep.com, and we'll use yours. We'll try to put yours on the air here and promote that here at the podcast, which is the Better Sunday Podcast. So anyway, from Central Wyoming here, South Central Wyoming, this is Mike here from the Sinclair Baptist Church at Reachkeep.com, coming to you on YouTube, and trusting that you have a wonderful day. Serve the Lord with gladness and enter into his gates with thanksgiving. We'll see you next week. Take care.